Do you know how to identify and apply number properties in fraction operations? Let's take a look at some properties and then some examples of those properties with fractions. The first property is the additive identity property, which states that a number plus 0 is equal to the same number. Here's an example with fractions. 4/5 plus 0 is equal to 4/5. This is an example of the additive identity property. 3 1/2 plus 0 is equal to 3 1/2. This is another example of the additive identity property. The additive inverse property states that a number plus its inverse or opposite is equal to 0. Let's take a look at one like that. Here we have 3/4 plus a negative 3/4 is equal to 0. This is an example of the additive inverse property. Let's look at one more. 2 1/2 plus a negative 2 1/2 is equal to 0. Another example of the additive inverse property. The multiplicative identity property states that a number times 1 is equal to the same number. Take a look. Here I've used a set of parentheses to show multiplication. 4/5 times 1 is equal to 4/5. We could also use this property with a mixed number. 4 1/6 times 1 is equal to 4 1/6. The 0 property states that any number times 0 is 0. So if I had 4/5 times 0 would be equal to 0. I could also say if I had 6 1/4 times 0, it would still be equal to 0. The last property we're going to look at is the multiplicative inverse property. And this property states that a number times its reciprocal is equal to 1. So if I have 3/4, let's make that 3/4 times 4/3, that the answer is 1. And I can test that out. I can test it out two different ways. One is I can multiply across. 3/4, let's write that again, times 4/3. I can go 3 times 4 is equal to 12. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. 12 over 12 is equal to 1. Or I can cross cancel. These cancel to 1s. These cancel to 1s. And again, my answer is still 1. I can also look at that with mixed numbers. So if I have 4 1/2, I first want to convert it to an improper fraction. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9/2, and I could say 9/2 times its reciprocal, 2/9 is equal to 1. Let's look at it another way. If I had 3 1/3 times 3/10, I could say that this product is 1. How do I know? Let's convert this mixed number to an improper fraction. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10/3 times, there's its reciprocal, 3/10, and the product is 1. This is an example of the multiplicative inverse property. Now you've looked at a bunch of properties that we can use in number operations with fractions.